Recently, we've been hearing more and more how the pandemic has affected the economy. Neighborhood businesses have been shutting left and right. Now more than ever, it's important to support micro, small, and medium enterprises. But medium and large organizations aren't exempt from the struggle. Now let's discuss what defines both of these categories. Criteria for recognizing medium enterprises vary from region to region. In the UK, for example, a medium organization has 51 to 250 employees and has an annual revenue of around 10 million to 50 million euros. Philippines Department of Trade and Industry defines them as having 100 to 199 employees and an annual revenue ranging from 15 million to 100 million pesos. These medium organizations can range from being family-owned and managed to being family-owned with hired management. Medium organizations can be very flexible. Policies are less rigid, so they can quickly respond to changes in the market and modify working conditions. Employees then have more freedom to explore their potential by going beyond assigned roles. Such enterprises can grow closer with customers and form meaningful relationships. This helps in assessing specific needs. Medium organizations can then bring something entirely new and refreshing to the table. Because of the smaller workforce, employees often form personal relationships with each other, making it easier to identify their unique quality. This instills a sense of camaraderie and efficiency that also allows for a connection to organizational goals. Finally, medium organizations have access to financial aid through bank loans and government initiatives. But, of course, we can't have it all. For every advantage, medium organizations also have their fair share of challenges. Medium organizations may encounter difficulties in maintaining business due to expensive fees like taxes and tedious registration and licensing procedures. They may also lack access to necessary infrastructure, utilities, and local government support. And even though financial aid is available, processing takes time and requires heavy requirements. These programs may also be poorly implemented, should they exist at all. Meanwhile, bank loans are problematic for their collateral requirements, tight deadlines, and high interest rates. Some banks may just flat out refuse to provide support. Medium organizations are often limited to certain markets. They can't afford to innovate and compete due to a lack of manpower and assets. Designing products is difficult with a small workforce without technological know-how, and selling them can even be more challenging without reliable access to market hubs, commercial centers, and factories. A combination of these pros and cons help define some of the medium enterprises we know and love. If you're into clothing, textiles, or even interior design, Spectrum by Larry's has you covered. They offer a wide array of products and services related to clothing and fabric design, all at affordable prices and exquisite quality. Their veteran and fresh employees work together to continue Larry's 25-year tradition of service and commitment. International medium organizations can also exist, like Satava Financial Solutions Limited, a provider of capital finance and technology solutions to both small and medium enterprises. Talking about medium enterprises reminds me that we should consider public officials out of platforms for MSMEs. This is especially relevant now that we have an upcoming election. The government should have them covered. But let's move on and cover large organizations. Like their smaller counterparts, what is considered a large organization varies from country to country. It is defined by more than 100 employees in Indonesia, over 200 in Australia, and over 250 with 50 million euros in sales in the European Union. For the Philippines, the DTI defines large organizations as those employing more than 250 people and having assets worth greater than 100 million pesos. Aside from having more employees and resources, large organizations can operate internationally. They have more complex structures and heavily rely on technology and specialized departments like finance, human resources, and marketing. These are often managed by managers, not the business owner. Large organizations clearly have it easier. Most of them have long histories, giving them recognition and clout based on brand name alone. Having more employees leads to more output and productivity. Most large organizations divide their employees across committees that perform specific roles, allowing each one to be specialized. This makes it easy for large organizations to set standardized procedures for everything from individual tasks to salaries. Thus, the steps towards career growth and promotions are often clearly laid out. Obviously, large organizations have a lot of resources. They have the capability to pay better salaries and provide benefits like insurance or the use of on-site facilities such as gyms and restaurants. These organizations also have a greater profit margin due to their bulk. They have the freedom to pursue different ways to generate revenue, such as establishing international branches and subsidiaries, or introducing different product lines for different markets all at the same time. Through innovation, they can remain on top of their competition. Compared to medium organizations, the disadvantages of large ones center more on the nature of their work. The complex structures and rigid procedures of large organizations lead to slower, less reactive decision-making. These also mean that there is less flexibility and consideration for salaries, working hours, and roles. Employees are expected to do what they are assigned to do, and this can inhibit personal growth. Because large organizations are so entrenched in policies, personal relationships between employees and their customers can also feel corporate and superficial. They can be less receptive to creativity. Finally, large organizations are not eligible for government aid. Large organizations are often household names. I mean, who hasn't heard of the Jollibee Foods Corporation? Aside from managing Chowking, Mang Inasal, and Red Ribbon, it has employed over 17,000 people in 2019 and made 154 billion pesos in revenue just last year. An example from the international fashion scene would be the LVMH group, which owns heavy hitters such as Christian Dior, Fenty, Givenchy, and Bulgari. Their 2021 revenue alone totaled a whopping 215 million euros. Well, to sum things up, ito na lang alalahanin natin. Medium-sized organizations employ around 200 people, while large organizations employ more than 200 people. Medium organizations are more flexible, personal, and have better work experiences with a slight compromise in business stability. Larger organizations employ rigid structures, specialized workforces, and can target wider markets, while at the risk of being a bit robotic and corporate. Honestly though, lahat naman ng organizations bring value to our lives in different ways. Knowing how these organizations operate can help us make decisions from which brand to shop at or where we'd like to work in the future. It can even help us pass CT 108. Thank you. Bye.